Actually, already in 4th game, it looks like. So not sure what kind of game he's streaming there, but nonetheless, we are gonna be heading into Savannah as the game number 2 here for the match, and we are going to be currently having starting on the Rhino. That's at least in the line of sight. Otherwise, though, it seems like it's gonna be maybe a bit of a lower hand. It's kind of hard to say from the start in hand. Gonna have to wait properly for that still. But it seems like it's gonna be only one Rhino, which is usually not entirely that much of a great signal. But it will be TIGERBOSS with Oranos, and of course on the other side Sensui is gonna be playing the same. He would be changing something that is working for him and that has worked for him for years and years. As of course he is an Oranos main, like ever since anybody can of course remember with him. So the gold mine currently for Sensui is gonna be slightly jutting out, but not too much, and it's also kind of like at the back. So it won't be too terrible and hard to protect. Some kind of easy maneuver here potentially. Or like, really, not needing too much to make it a bit nicer. As it seems like this is gonna be one of the interesting Oasis variants, with the TCs basically being not like beyond the base, but on somewhat of a similar level here. So they're not gonna be in the middle. I'm really preferring this kind of type of Savannah. And Zendragon, thank you for the bit. And Gamer Boy, thank you for the follow. As Dwarven Calipers are gonna be actually fairly interesting here. Let's see if maybe TIGERBOSS is gonna be learning that Kairos are actually a fairly decent idea in this matchup. If the first game has been anything as a learning experience potentially for him. No, and further down the line, something curious. No, gold mines are gonna be a bit further away currently from safety, let's say. You can say right now the town centers are not gonna be in such a close proximity to them. Usually is that way if you're gonna be having the back ones. I can say now same situation on the other side. So yeah, he's gonna have to work for them. So a few palaces maybe are gonna be expected, but in the end it's not gonna be as terrible with the food here. Just a bit of a walk-in time is gonna be necessary, which is a bit annoying for the Atlantean. Will be delaying the advance by a few seconds. But nonetheless, the giraffes are gonna be in good numbers in here. Apparently one huge herd for both of them on Tower of Giraffes, but it's gonna be like 8 times, what is it, 300? So 2,400 food here. That's a pretty good source for a long time into the match. So advances again at the same time it's going to be, or is it going to be something different? Apparently not that much of a good news there yet for any kind of novelties or whatever. So it's gonna be a standard with TIGERBOSS having quite a, I mean, like terrible gold mine from Sensui's point of view because he just can't trade it in any kind of way. So he's gonna have to camp the second. But of course the seconds, as we mentioned, are gonna be a lot more challenging. And 4-minute advance. Oh well, so I actually didn't see it properly. There is something fun that's gonna be going on. No. That would be kind of nice if the gold was probably forward from TIGERBOSS. It's kind of curious why Sensui is actually choosing to go for this kind of build. Because I know TIGERBOSS is going for the classic standard 430. And he's gonna be right about now quite a bit perfect. Oh, quite a bit perfect. Oh, it kind of looked to me that he should be perfect at 430, but now it's gonna be still at 1 second less in here, and already scouted by Sensui with even actually investing into Oracle and turning him into hero. It's actually fairly smart, because it's gonna be meaning right about now no extra food from the hand for TIGERBOSS. It's gonna be almost right now finished with the zebras here to the top. And this is actually major idle time, especially if you're gonna be considering right now the early advance from Sensui. It's gonna be able to capitalize on that pretty quickly. So it kind of sucks. Just to be lowering him even next to the TC. Yeah, well played. This was a very good investment. All this trip back for the citizen. This is gonna be so many resources actually that are gonna be completely gone with Valor into a new couple and group. And he probably doesn't know about right now the top hunt here. That could have been quite a nice target as well for him. But yeah, he's gonna be having to do it a bit differently. So, should be therefore double Turmas, of course. Slight measure of protection on the gold, I guess, but didn't entirely think it like that deeply about it. It seems like maybe just more interested about the speed in there, so you're just gonna drop in it literally anywhere. And he can see keeping the gold mine safe, TIGERBOSS, as much as possible. Double Turmas as well. Because he was disrupted with the village on the food here. He just like doesn't even have food for villages and Murmilos. I'm thinking, oh, he kind of like could be having that, but he kind of chose to be effectively matching what Sensui is gonna be trying to do. And in the end, he at least did discover right now the hunter to the top. So further delay in him. Oh, and any kind of food gathering, but without any kind of further assistance, it's gonna be a bit more tricky to keep the battle in. Kind of a good result for Sensui, but he seems to be already sending some reinforcements from the south. Yeah, some first Turmas are on the way, so it doesn't have to be really that terrible. He's gonna be microing it properly and well. He should be. Okay, so far doing it decently. Probably shouldn't have been going for the Oracle. Would have been nicer, I guess, to hit the Promethean. But it's gonna be time to head back, with reinforcements also coming from TIGERBOSS. And logically, right next to the blue base, it's gonna be much faster and much easier for the Turkish player to get the units into the fight. Can see, of course, that bit of advantage on the villages. Also to be expected, population limit same-ish. And Sensui again needing to be getting the manor there a bit earlier. He seems to be really having a bit of a problem with that. Oh, that was a very good shockwave. Just gonna come in here, boy. Come in here. You're not gonna be hiding behind the wood line for me and from me. Oh man, can he actually finish though? 9 hit points. Maybe kind of like next time, but still, that that was really one of the better shockwaves. Just gonna throw in him across the wood line. Yeah, since he doesn't disappoint, and he was actually trying to snipe him now. Unfortunately, it's a bit too slow. But yeah, next time, 9 hit points, it's gonna be very easy to destroy the villager somewhere down the line. TIGERBOSS though actually getting quite a bit high on the pop limit. And for Sensui, the problem is he's actually housed. Otherwise, the resources, look at that. He could be getting the new units. He just unfortunately completely locked off. Only now noticing that there is a bit of a problem as he was trying to micro the fight. Switching already into Murmilos. On the other side, it's not gonna be apparently the switch yet. And the issue is going to be, we don't have too many goats. He's gonna have to be potentially going for the food outside. And he frankly isn't entirely in such a great position anymore. He really isn't. So, I'm thinking that this is gonna be opportunity for TIGERBOSS to get a bit ahead, because he's gonna be able to get through food in the middle. He does have the edge currently, quite a bit evidently, and that missing manor is probably gonna be having fairly significant consequences and should be forcing Sensui into the defense. But we gonna know what happened last time, right? He also seemed like that he was in a terrible spot, and then it was actually a pretty solid victory from it. Let's see if this time it's gonna be somewhat similar. And the switch into Murmilos, also right about now faster than the opponent, right? Yeah, of course, you can say it now. Oh, nice. Nice, right now the military barracks also built. Well, there are the military barracks also on the way. So, it's not gonna be at much of a high difference as it was in the last game. But yeah, the hunt is still going to be the important part. But 20 more pop limit. Yeah, I'm not entirely certain this is gonna be that easy. Dwarven calipers for the better Cairo ballistae potentially. It's not even something that he should be actually able to really fight. Yeah, I'm thinking this is not gonna be working too well. Maybe though the switch into a few more Prometheans. It's not like a bad idea. Seems to be having an auto queue on them currently. Where's the damn temple? There. On the other hand, you can see we don't have that from TIGERBOSS. And frankly, the Prometheans are gonna be quite a nice counter to such an army. About now 25% pierce resistance right now already. Should we drop in a manor here? Yeah, needs to be coming. And the 5 villages obviously being the max. Shouldn't be sending anything more, so they can be sending and hiding everything with quite nice hits. And unfortunately you can see Sensui not paying attention fast enough. So it's gonna be one gone, and this is also unnecessarily too far away from the TC. Yeah, it's gonna be a maybe snipe number 2 here. I like how he's trying to block the path in. Unfortunately, there are just like way too many places where he can hide. But still, one whole salvo is gonna be also quite a bit useful. 2 citizens more for TIGERBOSS. Resources somewhat similar. population limit in a moment is gonna be same-ish as well. There really won't be that much of a difference in that. But, for example, medium infantry, it's already a bit of a problem because... No, I mean like problem. Let's not get ahead of ourselves because it was potentially a problem last game as well, and in the end it wasn't. So let's not get too ahead of ourselves. But as you can see, the investments from TIGERBOSS are mounting as he's getting even an extra TC. As for Sensui, he definitely seems like it's gonna be more of a next age advance rather than the town center currently for him. By the way, the next relic. Shingles of Steel, it's not bad. Somewhat interesting for the manors. Actually increases the hit points fairly significantly, so quite a bit worthwhile build. As the extra poppy for TIGERBOSS. I'm really curious at this point at Sensui's reaction. Already implementing some basic chaos. Okay then. He actually ejected the... Why did he eject Dwarven Calipers? Mistake or just kind of some kind of challenge? I mean, like, especially with the Kiroballista coming up, the 20% discount is actually fairly cool. It was any kind of communication, like... I mean, like, why would they even be? Just like part of the game, of course. As Bendry... barely worth it. Some kind of low exchange rate, let's say, for extra food. And a bit faster, so not entirely too great. Can see right now 5 Prometheans. On the other hand, you're gonna be having some 3 here. No, the Prometheans possibly could be some... Not definitely want to say it, game changers, but they could be somewhat helping out. As you can see in the end, TIGERBOSS is gonna be getting into the Heroic Age with the second TC quite a bit faster. Yeah, this is a bit different right now. It's not entirely looking as great for Sensui anymore. As you can see, currently we're going to be having on the top, that will be citizens getting the town center, which doesn't entirely net him anything, but on the other hand, none of the TCs do in this game. They all are a bit challenging, but frankly, the gold mines are actually, when I'm looking at that, they are a lot worse for Sensui. I haven't properly right now seen the ratios and like distances in there. It kind of sucks. Some of the units right now so far away to actually go back to battle. He's again using the whole army instead of maybe just sending part there in the TIGERBOSS. That's really something he needs to be unlearning. Because he's then kind of like really just gonna stay in the danger part of the battle a lot longer than he needs to necessarily. He needs to be learning to kind of like select quickly smaller parts and sending them elsewhere. You're gonna be of course a lot more efficient at that point. And well, what would have been actually the first matchup in between those two players? Antos, it's gonna be Oranos War probably all the way. And on Gold Rush. It was a pretty damn good game, by the way. Really one of the more entertaining Oranos Wars that I have seen in a long time. As apparently you can see TIGERBOSS definitely didn't expect he's gonna be taking such an unfortunate engagement. But it almost looks like, as of course Sensui is gonna be slow to get into Heroic Age, that maybe TIGERBOSS could be getting himself into Mythic faster. But it depends how much he wants to be committed into replacing the army, right? So yeah, that's gonna be kinda curious that way. You can see economic... Ooh. No, well, 4-minute advance, so of course. And you can say it now, Hendux and Pickaxe, that's gonna be a Teia, no? He wants to be getting the Mythic in that TIGERBOSS. Not surprising to me at all. He does have a somewhat of an interesting spot for that economically. As opposed to opponent, who's gonna be, of course, you can see militarily the same level of advances and upgrades. So all the way to the top, Palace is gonna be getting a bit blocked. Citizen dead at least. There's the other one. Oh well, I'm thinking that's gonna be the one from the start. Just receive some extra hits, but ready to kill and get killed as well. No, this is a fairly important palace. And you can see right now the differences, right? You're gonna be having within one screen called NTC. Same situation here. Whereas for Sensu, you don't have that. You are having basically like a very extended screen. My bigger one at 1200 on the instead of 1080. You can see the distance there. And here it's gonna be barely reaching the gold in there. So the gold mine positions are a bit worse for Sensui. A lot worse actually. Even such a I don't know, a few centimeters of a distance can be making a difference, because it's gonna be a lot harder for Devils to keep themselves safe. And yes, that palace is absolutely certainly needed. It should be somewhat fine. I'm kinda looking if he maybe is not gonna be having some units unfortunately stuck somewhere in the forest, for example. Obviously gonna be able to put them back in, but if it were something like a siphon, then probably obviously not too much. So you're gonna be at this point right about now ready for Sensui to potentially get into the Mythical Age 2. It's obviously gonna be still quite a bit slower, so it's a bit different as far as right now the advances, so therefore it's gonna be seen Sensui having to deal with that, which is not entirely probably his comfortable moment. I'm expecting. It's still kinda confusing me why the Dwarven Calipers have been ejected from the temple. Can't understand that. If maybe TIGERBOSS just wants to be playing some gentlemanly game, because the 20% discount is really huge. But in the end, it's gonna be just a mistake. It's not gonna go into those theories, I guess. And I don't use it because I don't want to be losing the potential chat in the live games. So if you don't care, well, that's your problem. Head into other stream. I don't care about that at all. I'm never gonna be using in live games something that's gonna be potentially removing the chat because it is not recorded in the recorded games. So it's always better to be keeping everything recorded if you can. You never know what kind of discussion there could be between the players. There's a recorded game, no problem with that, but in the live ones, you're never gonna see it here. And if it bothers you, goodbye, I don't care. It's just simply how it is. And in the end, if you are needing to be seeing some extra resources and whatnot, then just gonna watch the games yourselves somewhere else, because you apparently do not care about the stream. And yeah, so not a streamer for you then. You want somebody else. No problem whatsoever with that. But we are gonna be there for... At this point, is he actually... Yeah, good, he was microing against the stream flame, but I was going to say if he's actually gonna be using it somewhat properly. And Mythical Age up. He doesn't entirely have any kind of scouting to the right side, unfortunately. As TIGERBOSS is trying to get himself a third PC as well. Can say that it's gonna be medium Anarchy with copper shields. And on that other side, we actually haven't entirely switched even too much into any kind of other units yet. So I can say it now. Gonna be pushing it through the myth units, apparently Sensui. 6 villager difference is rather serious here though. That's not entirely boding too well for him, as the Tatran Gate has been right now cast into practically the middle of the base, which is somewhat helpful. Will be blocking a decent amount of wills, temporarily at least. It's a lot of farms though, by the way. And potentially taking down a few more military buildings. What is this? Oh, trying to slow it down, but he won't be succeeding. Same as right now, Sensui though is probably gonna be succeeding with his own town center in there. Quite a bit nicely. No, the pop limit for Sensui is quite a bit scary currently. It's gonna be hard for him to keep up. Okay, those 5 villages, that's practically like 5th economy less for TIGERBOSS currently. As nothing is getting currently researched between the players. And you can see they're gonna be having some idle even. Not something that Sensui can currently unfortunately afford. And that's where the GG is already gonna be called. And yeah, this was a bit more cautiously played by TIGERBOSS. And that's where we are gonna be getting the match tied at 1-1. But it's a best of 5, so there are gonna be still plenty more games to be done. And you can say now the next map is going to be Frozen Wastes, then Alfheim, and potentially the last one would be Sheltered Pass. So Frozen Wastes and Alfheim still right about now to be done and played here. Okay, so let's have a look somewhere forward and further. You can see economically now that just economically Sensui couldn't right about now last as long as he needed, because obviously there was at least base upgrades, way more villagers. They were just gonna bound to catch up with him, and 18 minutes is maybe even actually a bit longer into the game than you would be expecting that it's gonna be catching up with him. But yeah, if he's gonna be getting into some good situation early in the game, then really TIGERBOSS is standing to be having quite a few problems in the game. You can see right now economically some 1700, that's going to be 2.5, so 4-2. But like 3,900 resources more for TIGERBOSS than Sensui. It's not like extremely too much, but this it is felt in the fast advances and further parts of the game. Still actually more turmas in there for TIGERBOSS. But good hold by Sensui anyway. GG.